Lachland Turner is the women's motocross champion. Haiden Deegan, the capper to a championship season.
When I want to win, I win. And that's what I do.
Yeah, RV. What do you think of that, dude?
Well, you know, I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
No, he's not. Welcome to Title 24, y'all. Presented by NBC Sports. We got man, they give us some good material. We have a great show today. Looking forward to it. Let's thank our sponsors before we get into it. Get ripping. United Motorsports, Quad Lock, Boxo, Cardo, Dunlop. Thank you guys. Quick shout out before we get into it. You heard Weege there on the opener. Congrats, Lala Turner on the championship. That was fantastic. Really cool, and it's crazy how fast they are. Track was awesome too. It looked like for them. So that's always cool. She's been dominating. She had a good week at the ranch. I know you saw it. I watched all the races too. So congratulations. I believe that that's her second time winning the championship, I think. Anyhow, dude, so you're in a new area. You're in your new house. Like, bring us up to speed. You don't have the championship trophies or anything in the background.
No, you got my white wall behind us right now. No, it's good, man. Just wide open like usual.
Yeah.
Flew to Frederickstown Yamaha on, or I should say DC on Wednesday. Thursday we had a 50th year anniversary at Frederickstown Yamaha. Very, very. Actually, it's a standalone Yamaha dealership. You don't find many dealerships anymore that are just one manufacturer. So they've been a standalone Yamaha dealership for 50 years. So really cool, very old building, cool spot. Got to hang out there, and then flew back Friday, and then I've been moving ever since. So yeah, we're basically camping, mattresses on the floor, pull out chairs in the living room. So yeah, it's what we're doing for right now, but it was good to wrap up Pro Motocross, right? Like it was an epic last round, Budds Creek. I always loved racing that track. And it was an eventful weekend, that's for sure.
Do you feel like, dude, I thought that the track prep was cool, like similar to Millville. Did you like how the track prep was?
I did. I thought the track raced well. Budds Creek being a little more on the technical side, where you have a fair amount of areas that go one line just because of how off camber some of those turns are and technical they are. So I always loved racing there. And I thought, like you said, track prep was great. The spectators, they looked like the place was pretty jam packed for the last round. So now stoked on it, man. The broadcast was good to watch.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was great. I'm glad that the weather was good. I will tell you, I'm glad that the regular season is over. It's going to be an exciting playoffs. I think there's a lot of people that I think a lot of riders are going to come into the SMX Playoffs, RV, and maybe have some redemption. I think the guys, like a Seth Hamaker, for example, how close he came to winning the championship, right? I think there's just dudes out there that want redemption. And I'm just using him as an example. There's several other guys in the 250 and 450 who certainly want to crack at it. I mean, let's start with Sexton. We were talking before we went on air today and started recording. It's just like you would assume that if Jet doesn't win, that Sexton was going to win the championship, and that's not the case. So now all the cards are on the table, and the world is everyone's oyster, and it's time for them to get after it. So I'm excited for the playoffs, dude.
Yeah, no, it is. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. United Motorsports moment of the week. Hey, before we get into talking about the United Motorsports moment of the week, make sure you head over to unitedmotorsports.com/title24. Enter your email, and you'll get a $15 credit on your first buy, and then you'll automatically be entered for a $50 gift card towards your next purchase. Really cool promo that United Motorsports has always been doing. So get over there. But it has to be, obviously, Haiden Deegan. Guy has just been absolutely cleaning up on championships. And it was really no surprise. Joe fought hard, but at the end of the day, the guy just figures out a way to win, finds a way to win. He's kind of got that dog mentality, and it was cool to see, and it's fun to listen to him talk, dude.
Yeah, it was. Joe rode phenomenal. He definitely turned it on. Actually, most of outdoors he was very well, but it's hard to compete with a guy like Deegan, with his confidence, as we saw post press conference, podium speeches at Budds Creek. Very confident, which in his right, it's his floor at this point to be able to do that. But no, I thought it was, the both of them rode well. Joe rode well. Haiden rode well. Along with the PC guys, I don't know, like results wise, PC, Pro Circuit getting better for sure. But like after practice, I think they were 1, 2, 3, and 5. So we're starting to turn it up. So we're moving right into SMX, like you said, RC. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to show up at these last 3 SMX rounds, swinging and ready.
Yeah, like again, I go back to what we kind of just said. I think it's another opportunity for guys to have that next crack. It's a reset, if you will. And my eye, like for the 250s, I think that going back and thinking about guys who maybe weren't as good in Pro Motocross as I thought they were going to be, but rode really well in Supercross is the Hammockers. I think Kitchen is going to be good. Loved what he showed us. And with the abbreviated races, I think that helps some guys as well. And some guys I feel like they ride Supercross a little bit better than they do Pro Motocross. It fits their style. So I think it's anybody's race. And again, with it being shorter, I think guys can, ride the full length at 100%. It's going to be interesting to see. A quick question, AB Hallett, do mechanics get any win bonuses from their rider similar to golf caddies? Did you stook up your mechanics, RV?
Yep. Yeah. It's an AB. It's kind of like it's an unwritten rule, right? You don't have to necessarily bonus them, but obviously, most of these mechanics and riders have a very, very tight relationship, from on the bike to even off the, to very much off the bike too. It's a very good working relationship. So when the rider wins, the mechanic wins too, along with the whole team, for that matter. So I would bonus out my mechanic, but I would also bonus out a lot, everybody else on the team, a lower number, obviously, from the rest of the team members to my mechanic. Yeah. But yes, I would try to, and I would bonus them out. Yeah.
Yeah. Same. It's not required. It's optional. And I was the same way, RV. And like for championship stuff, I would give the whole team, a little check there after the championship. But my personal mechanic definitely would bonus them on, per weekend. And there's no real set amount. It's based upon what you feel comfortable. I'm sure it's a sliding scale depending upon what your what your salaries, what your bonuses look like. And
I always won that year.
That's right. I always believe too, like, it's no different in my opinion, RV, when you have an employee working for you. If you have a successful business, you want to take care of the people that take care of you and incentivize them. And I feel like if you're generous and you do more than your share and you're more than fair, then they're going to work that much harder for you. And and you build a bond by doing that as well. So I think it's it's a two-way street. You're there because of them, and at the end of the day, your life is on the line with how they do their work on the motorcycle. So I'm all for it. Like giving them, incentivizing them for sure. So great question. So, but I'm not sure if everybody does. Again, it's voluntary. It's a voluntary option. Did you watch? Talking about, like, some people always talk about mind games. You see Joe or Deegan was having some fun there in practice, and do you think he was trying to play mind games with Joe or not really? Like,
honestly, I think the points were too far out for mind games. I think it's more or less Haiden just putting his last stamp on the Pro Motocross since we won't see him in the 250 class next year for outdoor for Pro Motocross. He'll be 450 for Pro Motocross next year. So I think it was kind of like his swan song of the Haiden era in the 250 class, right? So we'll see him for 26 in the 250 class, but as for 26 outdoors, he will be 450. So I just think he was making a statement, putting his mark on that 250 class, his last race. That's kind of what he's known for at this point, right? Is giving us a lot, all of us fans, all of us media, a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Hey, Hector, can you roll that interview of Haiden on his podium speeches for Moto 1 and Moto 2, please?
When I want to win, I win. And that's what I do. That's 4 in a row. So I'm stoked. Back-to-back outdoor champs. Just what we do, though. That's what we do over here. And thank you to my family, my mom, my dad, my whole team, Stars Yamaha. Yeah, I told my mechanic, I'm like, watch this. I'm going to sprint. I'm going to kick their ass. And then I did. So that's what we do. And Duff's like, well, you did it. I don't know what this is there for. It hit the key in the middle. We're live. We'll see who wants to sit next to the king.
All right, welcome back, race fans. We are now.
I mean, look, man.
Go for it, dude. Go. Take it away.
He has the position at this point to be able to do that, especially in the 250 class. So, the question I have is what happens if this 450, outdoor 2026 Pro Motocross for 450 class doesn't go the way he, wants it to or expects it to. I predict that he's going to have a learning season for sure on the bigger bike. And I'm going to be flat out honest. Joe is no Jet, and Jet is no Joe. Jet right now is in my opinion, the most disciplined on the motorcycle for Supercross and Pro Motocross. So if he thinks that he's going to be able to have that same, I guess, attitude and thought process jumping into the 450 class, I predict a rude awakening one way or another. Maybe I'm wrong. The quality and the standard that Jet and Hunter and Eli and all of those 450 guys have is as you know, RC is much different than the 250 class. I felt pretty confident coming into the 450 class, thinking that I was going to be able to, do, well right off the bat. Well, it took me 2 years. Now Haiden, I will say, what isn't me, and I wasn't Haiden, and Haiden is more prepared than I was going to the 450 class. He's probably more prepared than you going to the 250 class at this point.
100%.
So,
100%, yeah.
The evolution of the sport, the training, the riding, the bikes, all of that is he's more prepared than both of us. But I think he's raced, when he moves up to race Jet, I think it's going to be a different animal in that class. That's just what I have to say.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It will be a lot of fun, a lot of racing left until we get to Pro Motocross Championship. There's going to be a lot of next year when Haiden makes that switch. I've said it numerous times, just in the pits, locker talk, whether it's here on this show with you, RV. I would be surprised if there's not a learning year there. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him, what he can do and how well he's done. He's been able to stay healthy. That's one thing. More than anything, you explained it well here, that the 450 is different, and that's not saying he's not going to win and he's not going to do well, but it's just that those guys, like you said, are a different standard. Eli and all those dudes. Most guys that he's going to be racing against are multi-time champions in the 250 level. And that's not really the case of who he's racing against in the 250 class right now. So for me, kind of like you, RV, that's where the difference is. And what I think is going to be, I wouldn't even say an eye opener, but, and maybe not even a surprise, but just kind of like a, damn, I don't know if I was expecting that, is dudes that are running fifth and that are running sixth. And when you're trying to catch up, it's just going to be harder to go blowing by those guys. And, I think there'll be a humbling experience once in a while. But at the end of the day, after he works everything out, like you explained it, dude, it took me 2 years. And it took you 2 years. I think, like you said, yeah, the learning curve is a little bit quicker. There's way more resources. I mean, they are super in tune. His dad does a really great job at putting things in front of him, putting programs in front of him that is going to get him the best result. But at the end of the day, it's still, he's going up against the best in the business. And I think quietly he knows it. I mean, some of this is, just antics and having fun, and, they're no dummies by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think that he respects those guys. He may not play like he does, but I think at the end of the day, he knows, they all know those guys are bad to the bone. That's my opinion. And
I think RC, a lot of it, and I think a big portion of it too is they're very smart. Brian and Haiden are very smart marketing people. They're marketing themselves, and I think Jed had said it. I think there's people that want to build this rivalry between them, and rivalries are always good to have inside the sport. And I think that's kind of what Haiden is after too. He's after building up the hype, building up that rivalry, even before it starts, right?
Yeah.
So it's making each of them. Hayden's becoming more valuable doing what he's doing, and Jet is becoming more valuable by what Hayden's doing from that marketing standpoint. So I think they're very smart at what they're doing, but it's going to be interesting to see, in the future, if things don't go as planned or as they foresee it, how he changes his tune, or what, how does he redirect, or how does he, change what he work and change on what he needs to work on.
Yeah. Brandito 58 had a question similar to this, RV, for you and I. Yeah. Brandito wanted to know, we were both rising stars in the 250s. What was your guys' most humbling, put XP, I'm assuming that means experience? And for me, just thinking that I could go into the premier class and still get the same results. And then that first in 99 250, it was rough, because I was good. Like during the week, I'd practice with Ezra a lot, and I could run with him and motos, but then I get to the race and dude, I was hitting the deck all the time. And it was just a humbling experience for me. And then going into the 2000 series, I only won one race. I got a handful of podiums, but only got fifth in the championship. I think I did win the outdoor championship, but just, being so dominant in the lights class, and then go in the premier class and not being able to get it done. Yeah. It's just like, you got to go back to the drawing board, and you got to stay mentally astute. But yeah, it was a swift kick in the butt every single weekend. So that was probably the humbling experience for me when I made the transition from 250 to 450. What was it for you?
Yeah, like I said, I talked about it, 2 years of struggle streak for me in the 450 class. And I think also a big humbling part of it is not having, 8 weeks off during the middle of the season of Supercross as a 250 guy. You have 17 rounds of Supercross, 2 weekends off, 11 rounds of outdoors, a couple weeks off, whatever it is, straight into SMX if you're picked for MXON. So I think the workload was a bit more humbling also than being in the 250 class, and still kind of, it being a lot easier per se. And then once you move to that 450 class, it's basically year round. That you're really never off the motorcycle unless you are hurt. So I think that was a big humbling side of it too. Every single Saturday having to make sure the switch was turned on. And coming from the 250 class, only having 8 Supercross rounds, and then having a pretty decent sized break, a couple weeks here, and then you pop back in for a race, and then 2 more weeks off. You have some time to yourself. in that class, and you do not have that time to yourself in the 450 class. It's every single weekend.
That's right. One more guy before we move on to the 450, but Cole did well. I think Cole rode well as far as like going into the SMX playoffs. He's another guy. We talked about it. The guys that can win and have a chance for some redemption, and like not having the series or not having the year that he probably wanted. This is a great opportunity for him to really showcase. I think we already know who he is, right? He's going to do really, really well. And I think he has an opportunity to have some redemption. He did good this weekend. I liked what I saw from Cole.
He did. He, coming out, like I think he said on the podium, I believe, like maybe 4 weeks on the bike is what I think I remember, what I heard him say. And, to jump in at the end of the season like that, off of and it just wasn't a small injury. It was a pretty substantial injury to the, humerus is a hard bone, elbow area, hard area to get back to normal. So to come out, not have the first weekend that he wanted to, and then to get put up front in the mix like that, as RC coming off the couch, and running the front runner's pace is a tough job to do. And I think he showed that, like he said on the podium, I can ride outdoors also. So that was good to see from him. I'm a Cole Davies fan. Obviously it worked out really well for him in Moto 1 with the red flag. And I think there was about 3, 4, 5 of them that jumped on the red flag. Joe and Haiden were one of those. So Cole ended up getting the first Moto win. So good confidence booster for him from being off the bike, from having such a great Supercross season, and then ending, just drastically ending at Salt Lake with that injury. And then having him come back and what I think is second round for him of outdoors and putting it up on the podium in that first moto was I think a good confidence builder for him. Yeah. So now that he's got some time off the bike, he'll prep a bit more for SMX, and I think he'll be a contender also. Yep.
I agree 100%. I think you talked about it too, that injury coming back. That was not only was it a gnarly injury, it was pretty violent. Yes. Like the crash and everything. It was just, dude, it was nasty. So I thought hell of a comeback for sure. And we talked about it, dude. Like, keep your eye on that dude, because he's got plenty of speed in Supercross. I know SMX is a little bit different, but I'm not sleeping on his potential. That's for sure. For the Boxo breakdown, some more material. These guys, Sushi gave us some material that we're going to talk about it, but it's the post-race press conference for the Boxo breakdown section. If you haven't, go to Boxo. Did Boxo style out your new house?
Oh yeah, they did.
That's
yes,
right.
They got brought over the new black cabinets. I did red accents on these ones here. Turned out really good. Like, stoked on it. The product's great, and it's fairly simple to put in. It's really good stuff.
You have to get Rich to post it up on your Instagram so we can see it all of our
we will. Once we get the garage cleaned up.
They did a heck of a job on your last one, so I have no doubt it's good. But anyhow, the Boxo breakdown, we got some fun B-roll. Hector, roll that B-roll. Give us some content, brother.
Joe, I think Haiden said something to you by the podium after Moto 1. What was he saying to you?
Yeah, he said something about mother, like stuff like that. I think I don't know with this situation, because they prepped the track really deep. So I thought maybe I brake checked him into the first turn, because I slowed down into the first turn and it stopped more than usual. So I had to go back on the throttle again to go to the turn. But he told me I cut him off. But also, where he lined up, they need to understand it's an S going into the first turn, all the way inside, right? And I was on like a 5th or 6th gate, straight to the first turn. It was a straight line. So it seems like I cut him off, but I mean, it's not really, I didn't really do it intentionally.
Right.
Well, I can tell you, Joe, I can tell you that that's exactly what I would have done. We had a perfect overshot view of that start. Joe had the jump. That is exactly what you are taught as a little kid. As any start at magnitude, number one is you're going to move over on your main competition and to control the inside. So that's exactly what I would have done, Joe. I think that was executed perfectly, held the inside, and then put himself in a great position, comes out third. I think right behind Hammaker right there. That was a beautiful start by Joe. Not sure what Hayden's problem was with that. If this is if that's what he's talking about, I thought it was executed properly. Like, it couldn't have been executed any better.
Joe, I'm assuming Hayden would have done the same thing. He did
100%.
He would have done this. He would have done the same thing. And two, they were plowing the start back and all that. And Joe is 100% right. And so I'm with you, RV and Joe. I would have done the exact same thing. That's all there is to say, bro.
It was executed perfectly, Joe.
Perfect. Yeah, you got to do it. Good job. Deegs would have done the same thing. Anybody would have done the same thing. It was perfect. And I don't think that Joe was just doing that to cut Deegan off. I think there's several other guys on the inside. He's doing that to secure the whole shot.
Exactly. And when you're in that position, RC, when you're the dirt is tilled up, it's deep. You're trying to lay down and squeeze every ounce of power out of that bike. Make sure you get your shifts right. So if you get a little wander on the gate out in front a little bit, and then you move left, that's all typical normal fashion of racing. It was very, very clean. Like I said, I'll say it again. It's exactly what I would have done. I think, and I know Hayden would have done the same thing, regardless of who was on the inside of him. If it was Joe, he would have done the exact same thing.
Yep, I agree with you. That was a Boxo breakdown. Pretty simple. Love the material that Wasabi gave us in the post-race press conference. That was great. Good job, all Pro Motocross Championship. I think Joe's going to do well, especially if he starts out strong. He's got a ton of momentum. I think that's been kind of Joe his whole career is starting out slow. I think with this momentum that he has coming off Pro Motocross Championship, I think he has a real shot to be the challenger, the main challenger for Hayden. So we're gonna get to tell.
And RC, you know what I liked about his that shot in the press conference was it's kind of the first time that I've seen Joe be like WTF, like, well, what are you talking about? Like he kind of had a little attitude to him, which I liked, instead of just being like, oh, I don't know what Hayden's talking about. Sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It was more like, you know what, I got the jump on you. Like, if you want to be upset, be upset.
He's like, dude, it's an S turn going in there all the way to the left. Like, exactly what was at stake and what you probably would have done also. He's like, come on, guy.
Yeah, it's kind of he was in the position right there to be like, he kind of just wasn't taking any type feeling is what I kind of got the feeling of. And I like that because I haven't seen that from Joe. He's very cordial, very nice. He's a good human being. So to see that little bit of beat it, I'm here just as I deserve to be here just as much as you do.
That's right. Hey, 250 SMX World Championship going into the playoffs. Who do you give the advantage to, and who is your eye on to be the challenger, to win the World Championship? Who do you like, and what are you looking forward to in the 250 class?
Well, I mean, obviously we have to talk about the two we've been talking about because they're the most two consistent right now. And those two, Hayden and Joe, clearly the fastest right now. I'm interested to see if Levi can get his stuff together and have some better performances along with Cole Davies coming off that injury, how strong he was in Supercross. So I'm looking forward to him. But I honestly think it comes down to in the end of it, it comes down to Hayden and Joe, because I think those guys have the speed on everybody right now currently. And I think it'll come down to those two in those 3 rounds, who's going to be fighting for that championship. And obviously just going off of, track record previously, Hayden's the one to knock off the top of the podium at this point.
Yep. 100%. I give Haiden the advantage. I don't know. I just feel
You have
like,
to.
yeah, he has the tangibles. He's done it. He's on the cusp of pulling off the hat trick, doing it 3 times. I think, it had to be harder to win it your first year, not knowing what to expect. He defended his world championship last year, and he has so much knowledge and how to do it that's a tough combination to beat. Not saying it can't be beaten, but if the money's on the table, you'd be a fool not to bet for him. However, there's some great contenders. You mentioned them all, so we'll save everyone for the time and me having to talk about it. Dunlop debate. I love this question from Jeff, equipment operator. With everybody using StartGrade maps on your computer for starts, I believe we should do away with the whole shot devices to put the starts more into the rider's hand. What do you say?
I mean, I don't disagree with you, Jeff. I think it would definitely throw a major wrench into the program with the current motorcycles that our racers are riding, the 450, the 250, the amount of power that these bikes are laying down, having start maps, having starting devices up on the fork guard that just sucks the front wheel down, along with being on the grate. I mean, that's a debate we've had on Title 24 many times. Should we get rid of the grate? Well, should we do this? No starting maps. There's been lots of different opinions and debates about how, what do we think? Sure. I mean, AMA just needs to write the rule, change the rule, and the teams will have to figure out how to get off the line. I don't see it happening. Just because it's been like that for a long time. I will still go back to, if I had to choose, starting device, starting map, or grates, I would get rid of the grates, in my opinion. It goes back to the reason why I say it goes back to qualifying position is that much more important, especially for Supercross. Along with outdoors, getting a good qualifying position time so that you are within the top 5, the first 5 riders to go pick a gate. And that's what the incentivize of the lap times are for practice is making sure that you were to be able to get a good starting position behind. What I'm talking starting is I'm talking gate, the line behind the gates that you get to choose from. So that's what I think. I think if you want to make a change to anything on the start, I think it's getting rid of grates, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I would do. I definitely see what you're saying there. I would get away with the lockdown device, to where you really have to put the art into clutch delivery, gas delivery. Like, it's a combination of everything, and it's the art of starting outside of starting on dirt, like what you're saying. I just think it, like, in technique, I think it changes that as well. So that's what I do. It's a hot topic. I don't think it's changing RV, kind of like what you were talking about. There's just so much time and effort being spent, and I can't see it. I can't see the AMA and the manufacturers peeling that back.
No, and I think
that's what I think.
And I think, RC, you got to have, I mean, I'm sure we could think of multiple different reasons of why to change one of those 3 things.
Safety first. Yeah.
Yep. Safety could be one of them, but we definitely need to, agree upon, why would we change something like that? We just can't make a change just because we want to make a change. What would be the reasoning behind the change? And a big part of it could be safety. A big part of it could be just making the playing field less even, because let's be honest, starting devices, starting maps, and grates, everybody's pretty damn even at that point. And now it really, like you said, takes the technique and being a good starter out of the mix, and it just becomes really relying on a reaction time at that time. So it's only one thing you're thinking about versus, like, say, 5 or 6 or different things all at once.
The art of starts, basically. I'm with you. Good question, Jeff. That was awesome. It just, I'm with RV. It's just going to be hard to peel that back. I don't see him changing it. But if they did change it, why are we doing it? And it has to be a good reason. Good stuff, RV. Quick recap of the 450 buds. No surprise. Great to see Justin Cooper. I'm gonna call him the regular season champ going into SMX. He is a #1 seed. Good for him. I think I said it last week on the show, RV. I like him for SMX playoffs. The reason that I do, the formats, the races are a little bit shorter. And if you go back to Supercross, he was really good at the end of the year. And now he's healthy. Remember, you got kind of banged up midway through the outdoor series, I think. And he was, it looks like he was close to 100%. He gets great starts, and keep your eye on that dude, man. He could be a sleeper for sure. So it was great to see him. But outside of his performance, I wasn't really surprised. What I saw at Buds in the 450. I don't have much to talk about, really.
No, it was pretty average in that regard. I think we had like farther back in the field, right? We had Cody Schock going down right there on the cusp. I think we had a couple more guys that got knocked out of the SMX playoffs. So further back, obviously Jet did Jet things. Hunter rode well. RJ rode well. Justin Cooper rode well. Like it was kind of uneventful of that. But I think, going farther down the list just a little bit, there was some guys that are on the cusp of that, qualifying for SMX, some that'll have to go to the last chance qualifier, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, I'm just going to say it now, the amount of money that's on the line for those guys, say 8th through 15th, right? Like it could be a good payday for those guys. Yeah, Jet loves the cash. We know he's got the cars. Hunter, same thing. It's great cash for those guys. But we all know what the salaries and bonuses.
Yeah, it's more pride for those guys. Of course, the money, but more pride, and 100%.
Exactly. So we see some shuffling around in the back there, like from that being on the cusp of qualifying, not qualifying, Cody Schock, going down, getting caught up in the Yamaha banner, things like that. So that was a pretty eventful race to watch, in the later part of the day on Saturday.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Cody, I think Cody just missed it. I think he's 21st.
Okay. Yep.
I think I could be wrong.
Yeah. We'll have to go back.
But like you're saying, like for him, he has an opportunity to do well in the SMX playoffs, and he's a dude that's kind of like right on the cusp to where the money might not be as important to him as going out there and saying like getting 5th in the SMX World Championship, whereas that's going to be a nice boost of cash in his account. So I like that differential you're talking about. Which riders it's like more prideful than the cash. But it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, like those LCQs, because there's some good riders in there, that are going to have to qualify their way in to the main event. So a lot of fun there. Man, I love this question for the quad lock question of the week, RV. So this question comes from a loyal listener. The winner is Shelby Reitz, and Shelby has been a loyal fan to us here at Title 24 for many, many years. She's from Pennsylvania, and she's got a restaurant actually in Pennsylvania called 230 Cafe. Looks pretty good. Go check it out online. But nevertheless, great question here. Shelby asks, what is the most surprising thing in the 450 outdoors this year? Hampshire being super consistent, Prado on the way he gels with Kawasaki, Justin Cooper being #1 seed going on to the playoffs. Outside of her question, RV, was there anything else in the 450 that surprised you that maybe she didn't mention? I think this is a great question.
No, I don't think so. Off the top of my head, no. But I will go that all three of her call it questions or who she's referring to were surprises. Justin Cooper, like she mentioned, being consistent, definitely solidifying himself as a 3rd through 5th guy in that 450 class. I wasn't expecting necessarily that. I knew we all knew he was fast. We knew he had the capabilities of doing it, but week in and week out was the question I had. So he exceeded my expectations there, set along with Justin Cooper. Really, once again, a 3rd through 5th guy every single weekend, going in number 1 seed into SMX. So that is a little surprising. Obviously with Jet being hurt in Supercross, things worked out to where he's coming in number 1 seed. So that's good to see there. But I would say the biggest surprise of Pro Motocross for 2025 would be Jorge, and just the struggles that he's dealt with. We've seen, obviously he alluded to some, being uncomfortable on the motorcycle. He was, he said he was giving 110% and so on and so on. And I said it at the start of Pro Motocross, his goal should be, 5th through 8th every single weekend, and trying to figure out the way we race here in the United States. And it was tough for him. He had a tough season. I think there's some, it's to be determined on where he's going to live, if he stays, if he goes. So I would say that was the biggest surprise on my end. That the expectations were maybe way too high for, his first full season here in the United States. It's tough. Like I said, I mentioned it, shows ago that, I went to Europe. I tried to go over there. Everything was just different. You had to do a lot of learning in a very, 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 very short time. So it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see where he lands, if he stays, if he goes, and then the hat's off, and there's no excuses at that if he does leave. If he stays and he pushes through and he gets better, that's what I expect, is for a guy at his level to improve. If he moves, the gloves are off, the hat's off, and he has to perform at that point, because if he's going to take that stance and say, oh, it's the machine, it's not me. If I was on X or any one of these other manufacturers, I could be up front winning. I think that's a massive pill to swallow. And if you can't swallow it next year, that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah. I think that one of the biggest surprises for me is, I think we live in the world where if Jet doesn't win, we just assume it's going to be Chase, right? And like it's one of those two guys, and not even thinking about like Eli, Cooper Webb, guys like that who are multi-time champions. Like everyone is just so quick to think, oh, those guys are going to win it. I think Chase not taking the advantage of Jet going there is or Jet getting hurt, probably a missed opportunity. You know how it is when you miss those opportunities. They're hard to get another opportunity like that back when you have probably the best guy that is gone. Hell of a job for a dude like Cooper Webb to get in there, fight, and win that Supercross championship. He had just as good of a chance as Chase did. That was a surprise to me. And it's not a slight towards Coop at all, but Coop made it happen. Whether Chase didn't like his bike or what have you, like no bike is perfect, RV, you know that. And like he had just as good of an opportunity and he didn't get the job done. I was really surprised at that.
Yeah, now that you say that, RC, yeah, that's that between Coop and Chase, very, very good view on that.
Right? Like I just assumed, like when Jet went out, and I didn't talk about it on the show because I didn't like, I thought it was like, oh dude, Chase has got this simple,
Especially with Coop dealing with his thumb, right? Like he dealt with his thumb all Supercross season also.
Bingo. Yeah. So that was Shelby, that was a surprise to me. But Justin Cooper being number one, I mean, not a total shock. Love his consistency. That just shows you how important it is to be consistent. I think Malcolm did great. As far as like being, again, to her question, Shelby, like the biggest shock. It's tough. There's so many things that happen. I thought RJ did good, but it wasn't a complete shock to me as well. I'm stoked for him. I'm excited for his chances. I will say, like with Prado, RV, I'm with you. like I got into the point. Listen, I think it's great to have a guy like Prado in the SMX World Championship. I love what he's all about. He's a great kid. I was bummed kind of towards the end of the series. Like I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt and get it turned around. But dude, I've talked to a couple of guys at that Cowie team, and AC did a great job laying it out there. He wasn't holding anything back last week on his and Justin's podcast about Prado. But I don't know. I almost feel like that ship has sailed. Something has got to change, or something is going to change, is where I'm at with it. And like I've kind of like lost interest in it. I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's just the same old thing all the time. So I'm kind of like to the point with him. Like I want him to do well because I like him, and I think he's great to have him in the series. But at the same time, I'm just kind of like, whatever. And then if he goes out and does well, and then we'll give us something to talk about.
That's right. That's right.
Congratulations, Shelby, on the quad lock question of the week. That's awesome. Thanks for being a loyal listener. I know JH already got you dialed in. So enjoy that quad lock swag. I'm sure you'll like it, and give him a shout out on Instagram. Hector, can you put up the SMX points for the 450 so we could talk about that a little bit? There you go. Justin Cooper, number 1 seed, Jet Lawrence 2. When I look at this, okay, and then put my championship hat on, and I want you to put your championship hat on, RV. When you look at the top 10, what are you, when you're going into SMX playoffs, what are you like? Okay, I'm pumped. Like I got this advantage, or this guy's here. What are you looking at, and how are you plotting out your strategy to win the championship here?
Yeah, well, look, I'm looking right now. RJ sitting 10th with 304 down. And then I go up, my eyes.
Points reset.
Yep. Points reset. So I'm looking at RJ in that, and then I see Eli up there in 7th. And then you got Chase, Hunter, Cooper, Malcolm, and Jet, and Justin. So because of the way SMX is set up, compounding points by the 3rd round, it's triple points. Strategy number 1 for me is the first race and the last race are the most important, especially, I guess I would first and third, right? The first round and third round are so important because the third round is compounded points. And then also the first round, it's interesting to see like guys like Cooper Webb. We know he's going to be phenomenal. I've already seen him on the gram, riding, getting ready. He's going to have a couple extra weeks compared to somebody like, say, Jet or Cooper or, Hunter, Malcolm, those guys that just got done with Pro Motocross. And we know how much a gamer Coop is. So I'm looking forward to, Coop, Jet. I think those two can go at it really hard. It just, to me, it's gonna come down to if number 1, if any Chase or Coop can make sure they have that speed each one of those races and those weekends that Jet has.
Yeah.
And also the consistency, got to be consistent. We already know that. But typically Jet's one of those guys that can turn it up. Mm-hmm. I feel like Coop has a ceiling of being very fast, but not typically the fastest. His strength is always in the latter part of the races. But to your point, RC, we have shorter races. It's not a 20-minute main event. So that could be a little bit tough on his side because it is a little bit shorter.
I think if you're going to have a throwaway one, RV, first of all, when I look at those points, I'm like, all right, I got a 6-point gap over Sexton. That's kind of nice. I'd love to have a 6-point gap going into the playoffs over any of my main rivals. So I'm liking that. I think, again, going off the last 2 years, I think if you're going to have a throwaway, and when I say throwaway, I mean like for those guys, those top tier guys, it's like anything worse than a podium, right? And then because, you double the points and then triple the points as you've already described to our listeners. So I like that. I look at that. I'm like, okay, I have a few points to play with, and I really have to execute. And again, this point system has been made to where these guys have to perform, especially the second and third rounds. It's so important. So that's where I think that the focus is. Make sure you get your crap dialed in and you're right and you are firing, especially those last 2 rounds. So that's where I'm at. Again, I go with it's hard to beat. It's hard to bet against a guy like Jet. It just is. Being straight up and honest. He gets good starts. He's mentally astute. Unless something happens and he puts his foot down and blows and has an injury, you're just silly to bet against him. However, this is, again, like the 250, like we talked about, or I said at the beginning of the show, RV, this is an opportunity for guys who think that they are better than Jet. Then go out there and get the damn job done. Go out there. If I'm Sexton, I'm going there, dude. I'm getting all these good starts, and I'm going to go show the world that I am better than these guys. And Jet.
And I think the reason why I picked round 1 too, RC, is if guys like Cooper or Chase can come out swinging and potentially put some of the other competitors on their heels a little bit. Just more of a flex move out of round 1.
Yeah.
So yes, from a point standpoint, it's standard points round 1, it doubles points round 2, and it triples points round 3. So I think coming out, so that's what makes you pick 2 and 3, I pick 1 and 3. So it essentially, between the 2 of us, there's not one that you can give up.
No,
it's all 3 of those SMX rounds are so important for different reasons, though. And that's what's the beauty of it. And like you said, it's going to be a hell of a showdown in Vegas on that weekend with the triple points. Anything can happen at that point because of the amount of points that are up for grabs. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a great finale out there.
It is. It's going to be a lot of fun. That was a good show. I'm ready. I've moved on from Pro Motocross, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Looks like we're going to have, hopefully the next couple of weeks, everyone they're going to have a little bit of time off, but I think they're all probably honed in on the SMX tracks and getting everything dialed in, get in there healthy. And I think with a healthy field, both the 250 and the 450 are going to be a lot of fun to watch. Again, we talked about it. We've beaten it down enough, but I love the race format. It's great watching both classes square off twice, abbreviated races. Love those sprint races like that because everybody can absolutely bring it. The track designs are pretty good. A lot of fun stuff on the track designs as well. It's going to be great, dude. It's going to be great. What you got? There we go. There's a schedule. September 6th, Z-Max Dragway starting off Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's going to be a lot of fun. I love the dirt there. In my opinion, I like it whenever I see it. Like, man, I want to race that. And then September 13th, the Dome at America Center in St. Louis. That's going to be really cool. Some of the best dirt there. And then, of course, the finale, the SMX World Championship. It's going to be at the Strip at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That's where all the chips are going to be on the table. And we'll just have to see what the boys put on for us. But that's it, dude.
That's right.
Well, what you got the rest of the week, brother?
Well, currently life's turned upside down. Like I said, we'll just keep unpacking some boxes and try to get a little ride in with the boys. But yeah, just trying to get back to normal. Started school today. Went and dropped. That's why you pushed the show back for the listeners. We pushed it back an hour and a half. First day of school for the boys, so I went and dropped them off. Met their teachers. Got to check their classrooms out since I missed orientation day on last Friday. But no, it's good, man. Just busy like always. The year's winding down, so before we know it, we'll be hitting the first. We'll have the SMX rounds, our SMX rounds, and then we will have Motocross of Nations at the end of the year. We're closing down the end of the year for our events, racing for our industry, and it's Ironman for MXON. If you don't have tickets yet, go get them because it's going to be a blast. Myself, RC, man, I think I'll be there for almost a week out in Indiana. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, have a good week. We appreciate everybody. United Motorsports, Quad Lock, Voxo, Dunlop, and Cardo. Thank y'all. Again, congratulations, Shelby, on the Quad Lock Question of the Week winner. Pumped for you. Thanks for the support. Remember, you can always check us out on Motorsports and NBC's YouTube page. We're on demand on Peacock. and all of the podcast applications. We are on there. We appreciate the support, and we will see you next time.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports. If you enjoyed what you just watched, well, it's time to bring the action and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel. You can have it all: news, highlights, interviews, and analysis. So go for it.